deal with properties in Detroit. The other building that I'm looking at is a 38 unit that's in Detroit. We could go with DSCR loan, that's debt service coverage ratio, where you only put 20% down on the property. That is very important when you talk about building a residual income. That residual income, because real estate will be part of your portfolio, like invest stocks and other investments. When you talk about stocks is a part of a portfolio income. But I try to stay away from anything that is deferred, and I like tax-free. So I like the rule of 72, and I like compounding interest. If it's not compounding interest, I don't have anything to do with it.
Okay, so you mentioned compound interest and the rule of 72. So that's my next question of like what that means and how that affects us.
I will give a simple rule of 72. Okay, you have $10,000 in the bank, you had a, say, 7% interest rate. It's going to take you 7.2 years to make $20,000. If you put it in there at 1%, we already know it's going to take you 72 years. That is the simple rule of 72. Okay, the rule is 72. You have $10,000 at a 10% interest rate, and it's going to take you 7.2 years to grow to the 20,000. If you have it at a 1%, you are going to take 72 years to grow. Just that 10,000 going to take you 72 years just to get to 20,000. That's the difference. And the rule is 72.
So my next question, if you don't know, the debt rate within our country is being increased. So I want to know how that will affect like the common person. I'm a common person. I'm not in the top or upper echelon of people as of yet. You know, I'll come back. But yeah, how does that affect us with the debt limit being increased?
The debt limit of an increase will always affect the common person. Like I said, I'm an investor. As an investor, we take advantage of anything that's in inflation. This is what quantitative easing is. As a quantitative easing research analyst for so many years in the banking field, being amongst different clandestine groups of the World Bank, IMF, and things like that, and we dealing with the Bank of International Settlement as of now. We know that we are dealing with an inevitable collapse. When you do that, it's the best thing is to always take advantage of the situation. But if you're talking about a common person, if they do not have any investment, any type of portfolio, inflation is always going to affect a common person. Like me, I don't have that problem because I'm an investor. I'm always going to take advantage of it. Like in 2008, we had an economic collapse with the banking. See, what Obama did was bail out the banks. This time it's going to be a bail-in. So what's going on in the economy right now with the banking system, we already know they're not going to bail them out, so it'll be a bail-in. And what happened in Greece, a lot of people is not even going to be able to get their money out. Before Obama was in office and we had President Bush, the son, he was in office, he had an account that was set up as a transaction account guarantee. Obama did away with that account in 2013. As me being a business individual, I'm grandfathered in to keeping my transaction account guarantee. So if a person had more than $250,000, they lost a lot of money in Spring Valley, Signature Bank. The Department of Financial Services just took over Signature Bank. And like I said, the best thing is not to keep your money in the bank because they are going to be doing bill-in, not a bill-out.
Okay, so she talked about a lot of things. So my next question is gonna have like a couple follow-up questions because I want her to break down a couple terms. First, I want her to explain what the Spring Valley situation is and why it was bought by the federal department. And next, I want you to signature. My second question with that is because it was purchased and it's a bill-in, how does, I don't have $250,000 in the bank, so what are they going to be taking away? Is my account going to be closed completely, or will it just be like, it'll be like a negative balance?
I would say this, if we're going to speak on what happened with Spring Valley and Signature Bank, yes, the Department of Financial Services, which is DFS, has control of Signature Bank, not Spring Valley. Spring Valley was more of a private institution, and they were dealing with a lot of the tech and crypto. A lot of those people have way more than $250,000 who put their money into Spring Valley, as well as Signature. So a person that has over $10 million in an account, and you only insure by FDIC of $250,000, you're crazy. That's why I always would say, don't keep a certain amount that's in the account that's not guaranteed, because there's no more accounts that have the transaction account guarantee tied to it, or an account of Obama doing away with it back in 2013. You talking 10 years ago. So you don't have that anymore. Now, Department of Financial Services did take over Signature because Signature, that bank and all of those, that institution was dealing in New York. So anything in New York is always going to be regulated and financed by the Department of Financial Services. And I know that because I have a license from the Department of Financial Services. That's when you in banking and anything you're doing in finance. So now, there's going to be 5 banks standing. And those banks are never going to go anywhere. And I could give you all the 5 banks. So you would not have a problem if you have up to the $250,000. Even when they do have a bank building, these banks would be standing. And I could give you the names. That's BOA, Bank of America. You have Citigroup. You have JP Morgan Chase. You have Wells Fargo. You have HSBC. And HSBC bought out the other bank, Bank of America, and also bought out Wells Fargo. The Chinese elders own that, own Wells Fargo and HSBC at 96%. The Dragon family own it. They're not going anywhere. But it does belong to the Dragon family. And right now we settle accounts with the Bank of International Settlements. We have to have a global currency reset. That's what's going on.
Okay, so my next question is, what's the best time to buy a house? So you mentioned that when you buy property and you have your own property in Detroit, that you come from a perspective of an investor. So what's the difference between a regular person just buying a house and an investor?
Very big difference. As an investor, you going in as an investor, and you going in, you know what you're talking about. You going in as a buyer, you going in as a first-time buyer, you want to get robbed to sleep. What I mean is being robbed to sleep is this. I'm into the real, I have a real estate license, so I know. So we're going to sell you the property, and you also have to go and make sure that you get a pre-approval for that property. Right now, if I was thinking somebody purchasing a home, I would tell them your best bet is definitely to get a home that is a multi-family. So you don't even have to think about anything when it comes to foreclosure. Here's why. Because if you're looking into a family home and it's a single family home, things happen. And if you did not build some assets, things do happen. So a person that builds the assets and their property can pay for itself, you don't even have to think about a foreclosure property. So the investors is always going to look at it that way. But a person that's buying a house, they don't know too much because they didn't do too much of their research. So if a person that wants to buy a house, they need to know what type of loan they want to get, what type of program they on. Are they in a first-time home buyers program, and things like that. But an investor, if I'm an investor, I'm going for a multi-family, and I'm going to go with a DSCR because I already got the 20% down. It doesn't matter if the house is $800,000, you already know what 20% of that is. It doesn't matter. You grab something like that.
So I'm done with my questions, and I want to open the floor for you guys to come up and ask questions and talk to her like I talk to her.
Hey!
What is details about IRA account? When should I take out my money, invest in, or take out money of my IRA account?
When you're talking about IRA, you have traditional IRA. You can take out at 59.5. And that is tax deferred. You have a Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is under the rules of Banking 7702 to an extent as well, but you have that Roth IRA up to 70.5. There's two different IRAs. So did I answer your question or? Your job IRA, is it a Roth IRA or traditional? Okay, so even if it's an inheritance, most likely it's going to be a tax deferred. So what usually happens, you would be paying taxes on that IRA because that's a beneficiary. That's the difference between deferred account and tax-free account under the 7702 of the IRS code. The IRS code states this under the 7702. Anything that's inside cannot be taxed, and anything unless it becomes a modified endowment contract. Long as that IRA did not become a modified endowment contract, it cannot be taxed. But yet it has become a modified endowment contract. So you will have to pay taxes on that IRA because it's inheritance. Now if that IRA was put into a trust and it was put into a trust that went and named a certain individual as a beneficiary, and who's the beneficiary of that IRA, it would be taxed different, and you would not have to pay tax. It could be tax-free under the 7702.
Is there anyone else with questions? I can bring the mic to you.
Peace.
Hey!
The 403B.
Okay, 403B. That's definitely with your job, so of course it's tax deferred. So what that means is you probably put in 20, 25, 30 years. Now you're going to be paying taxes for the rest of your life on that. And when you pay the taxes on the rest of your life, because you don't fall under the protection of the 7702 to be tax-free. It all depends. Maybe your state could be tax-free if it's a state job. But if it's or in city, they're different. But when it comes to the federal, no way. So what usually happens with those type of deferred plans is this. You are going to pay taxes on for the rest of your life, and your tax rate increases. It does not decrease because you are not going to have any dependent or anything. So what usually happens is this. You're paying the taxes, you're always going to wind up owing.
I'm going to go to you, and then I'm going to come to the back. I'm going to go right here, and I'll come back to you, okay?
I'm one of the ones that you said did not do research. And I did get a house about 3 years ago. My interest was it was on $1 million. It was a 2.9% interest. But I have any fear for the future that it will go up or anything with this. I mean, just what do you suggest? Yes, Dr. Should I just leave it right like that? Like I said, I didn't do research, I should have a two-family house, and have the other person do it.
Great question, Irv. I would say this. You have a 2.9 interest. You did, just because you didn't do your research, long as you build equity in that property. If you build that equity in that property, Irv, then what you do is go get that multi-family unit. The reason you do that is because you're gonna refinance. Don't do it now, because interest rates are high. But if the interest rates are always going to be high, and the inflation-related market. What you would do is wait, or if you see an opportunity, and you see that the equity in that property is $100,000, $200,000, and you know you could get something and take that $100,000 out and go and purchase something and go do a DSCR, debt service coverage ratio loan on a property, throw the 20% down, and you get a multi-family property, then you should not have to worry about foreclosure on that first home. And you already know the reason I said the multi-family, because the debt to service coverage ratio, that type of loan is going to be the tenant's income is guaranteed to cover the debt. Hope I answered that question, Irv.
I'm gonna go to the girl right here and then I'll come back over to the herbs, okay? I'm coming to you next, don't worry, I'm gonna get to you.
Peace to God's peace to the earth.
Hey.
Please, Jakisha, I appreciate all the information that you shared with us today. Thank you very much for all the service that you bring to this nation. And I want to bring it back into perspective in regards to where we are in terms of our nation. And in terms of your expertise, and as we are in the process of building our nation, and we are looking in terms of financials and in terms of what it is that we need to do as a nation in terms of building the things that we are striving to build, like the school and other institutions in our nation. How do we position ourselves financially to get some of these things accomplished? I would like to hear you speak on that. Thank you.
First thing, of course, building our nation, building our schools. I'm on the board, I do speak about that. There are different ways of building and different ways of getting loans. Like, we are in an opportunity zone here. There's no way you're not going to be able to get a loan, and you won't be paying taxes on that loan or capital gains or any of that for 10 years. On account of it being in an opportunity zone. When we building our nation, you have to put minds together, come together that understands the science behind loan, borrowing, and things of that nature. The reason why you don't just say, I'm going to go build a property, you want to know the location of that property, and you want to know what are the advantages of building that property. There's other ways of building a property where you raise enough money, go get a banking instrument, monetize, hypothecate that instrument, and fund it yourself. There's different ways of doing that. But they have a lot of grants out here that can help build property, especially when you're dealing with the opportunity zone. So that's the first thing, is making sure it's an opportunity zone. Did I answer your question? All right. Anytime.
The question I want to ask you, if you buy a building, right? Excuse me. If you bought property, right, and you straighten it out, Can you sell that property without a real estate license?
Okay, you said you straightening it out. I don't know what you mean by straightening it out. If you don't own up that property, since you don't own up that property, you can do whatever you want with it. You don't need a real estate agent, but it's always great to get a real estate agent if you are not, if you don't have any knowledge of the real estate industry. You want to make sure you get the right price for that property. And that's why you will hire a real estate agent. But an individual that owns a property, they can sell property that they own without a realtor. That's absolutely correct.
Please, why do we pay property taxes every year?
You have to pay property taxes every year because here in America, you do not own your property. That is the reason you pay property taxes every year. The best thing when you get a property, you take the property and you put it into an irrevocable living trust. You have a real estate irrevocable trust, and then you can avoid paying certain taxes. But the property taxes will always have to be paid on the property.
Alright, so if say my grandmother's house is left to all the grandchildren, how do you keep it from ever being sold, even if everyone leaves?
What happened is that's inheritance property. That's the worst thing the grandparents did. What they were supposed to do was put that into